YouTube, welcome to another episode of Special Saturday. This time, okay, I have, it's been requested that I play this game again, Democracy 2. I played it in a previous Special Saturday episode, but last time I implemented extremely liberal and communist policies and everything, and people want to see how I actually play. So, I'm going to go to New Game, of course USA, and let's make it a little closer to the real life. I think about 70% or so Americans are religious. So let's do that. The unemployment rate looks pretty good. Yeah, so, and then we're going to actually choose... Oh gosh, I turned on my fan because it was too hot, and then it got way too cold. And then let's just choose this, the Freedom Party. And I know this is a real party, but let's just pretend it's my party. And then, of course, the opposition party would be the Democratic Party. And let's change it to maximum 2 terms of office. Now, this is actually going to make you play out 3 terms, because you start out in terms and then you have 2 re-election things. So, I could just go to 1 term of office if I wanted, but I'm going to do 2 terms. So whichever party is in office, the Treasury is in power. That's interesting. Okay, so just so you know, there are some things, I'm going to prepare you guys, but there are some things that happen in this game while I'm playing that are out of my control, pretty much. And so because of that, I have lost before. I have lost an election just because there's like a market meltdown and all these different protests and everything. But really, when none of those random events happen, and also when even some of those random events happen, if I just have enough time before they start happening. See, it's almost inevitable that the market meltdown is going to happen, and when that market meltdown happens, then the GDP goes way down, and because of that, I'm going to go and run a deficit. But, okay, so let's get started. Let me see. The first thing I'd like to do is let's cut out tobacco tax, right? Let's just cancel it. It's giving us $2.24 billion per turn in income. Well, let's cancel it. And guys, this is how I actually play. We spend more on cows than on the poor. Okay, so homelessness is no longer a problem. Internet crime is now a problem. It always becomes that. So housing expansion. Basically, they're wanting to build on some restricted greenbelt land, and I have the option of either relaxing the planning law or keeping the planning restrictions. So let me see. Normally, I relax the planning law because we wouldn't even be building on a large portion. It's a very small portion of greenbelt land. Sometimes I keep the planning restrictions because, think about it, the country's founding profession basically is farming, and it's not just to preserve the landscape; it's also kind of to help out the farmers. So, but actually, I'm going to relax it this time. And see, now look, we also have a $43.8 billion surplus. I'm getting 40% of the vote if the election were today. So, see, that's going up right now, and all you have to do is get to over 50%, and then you're good if you can keep it above that. So let's see the tax evasion. Okay, it's a little bit high. It would have to go down a lot, yeah, but okay. So the liberals are liking us more. I don't know why. Smokers are liking us more, and that's just because I cut out the smoking tax, the tobacco tax. See, the poor are liking us more. Dang. Okay, but see, here's a bad thing. Look at this. You want the middle class to increase, right? But the middle class is decreasing, and the poor is increasing, and that's really not good. And let's see, the amount of wealthy is decreasing. I'm not really sure why. That's never happened to me before. It's stayed the same the entire time before. Alright, so let's see. Commuter, middle income and state employees, wealthy and retired, farmers and socialist. Might want to fire her. Trade unionist, retired and patriot. Commuter and environmentalist. Okay, so transport and tax. See, this is transport, middle income, and conservatives. What about tax? Wealthy and farmers. Okay, so I can fire the transport and tax. And let's go to tax and do this, wealthy and farmers. And then we're gonna go to the transport and middle income and conservatives. So we're just gonna make sure our cabinet is sympathetic with us. So or sympathetic with the people we like. So yeah, we no longer have a minister that's sympathetic to environmentalists, so they're kind of not happy about that anymore. And their opinion is going up. I don't really know why. So let's see. I can't do anything with labor laws. Alright, so let's just not do anything. They talk about the failure of socialism, but where's the success of capitalism in Africa, Asia, and Latin America? Well, maybe they just haven't tried it very much yet. Alright, now see, look. We've got a budget deficit of 48.5 billion, right? Here's the dilemma. There have been people entering their country, hidden inside cargo containers, just trying to illegally get here, and I say deport them. I mean, yeah, exactly what this says. It would send out entirely the wrong signal to people who want to come here illegally, and we need to do something about that, so that's what we're gonna do. Minor threat from extremists within the environmental movement. So what I'm actually gonna do is, see, here's introducing a new policy. What I can do is I could do this pollution controls, plastic bag tax, organic farming subsidy actually might be nice, clean energy subsidies, but here's what I want to do. I want to interfere with people's lives as little as possible, so I'm going to introduce recycling. And see, look, it's not even going to cost that much in relation to what other things cost. Look how much it brings up environmentalist opinion of us, and the air quality improves. So it's good for everybody, right? It's just recycling. Universities are available only to those who share my revolutionary beliefs. Environmental protests, yeah. We're getting 46% of the vote. Let's see, we only have a deficit of 11 billion now. And switch to digital TV. I'm going to keep analog TV, because again, you want government to interfere in people's lives as little as possible. So that's that. Now we got 56 political power. Here's what I do right here. Reduce the deficit. This is going to definitely turn us into a surplus right now. See, right now we got the State Health Service costing us $39 billion. Now look at this expenditure right here. The State Health Service, oops. The State Health Service is the second highest spending. Other one is state pensions, state schools and everything. And the military spending I am not going to cut. I'm not going to cut our defense. But the State Health Service definitely needs to go, because it's a source of cost. We're spending way too much money on it, and we could definitely help the economy do a lot better if we just cut it out. Punish France, ignore Germany, and forgive Russia. Huh. Interesting. Alright, eco-campaigners action. Now, yeah, serious concerns. Okay, now see, look, we got a $43 billion surplus. Let's see, appoint UN ambassador, well known as a patriot who would fight tooth and claw to get our interests represented at the UN, seen as a popular choice amongst patriotic and more conservative citizens. She is historically against foreign aid and a supporter of import tariffs. She is not popular internationally. That's who I would appoint. I don't want an internationalist. Okay, so the environmentalist people are really, really not liking us. So let's see. See road building. See there, it's kind of contributing negatively. It's at some expansion right now, but if we turn it down to existing roads fixed, then we reduce spending, and we're kind of increasing their opinion of us. So, I mean, because you gotta try and please as many people as possible, even if you don't agree with them. No such thing as the United Nations. If the UN Secretary building in New York lost 10 stories, it wouldn't make a bit of difference. Okay, we have a surplus of that. of 65 billion. We're getting 51% of the votes. That's good. Children's food. A law has been proposed to regulate the fat content and nutritional value of food sold to children, including food sold in fast food restaurants and, of course, food served in schools. This is likely to incur costs for the food retailers. I'm going to leave the law unchanged. You cannot interfere with the free market. This is the state interfering in people's lives. If kids want to eat fatty junk food and the parents do not mind, then who are politicians to tell people not to eat hamburgers? I exactly agree with that. Yes, they shouldn't do it. You know, I'm not saying that it's not bad, because it is bad. But we shouldn't be interfering in people's lives like that, right? It's not good. Now I think, let's see if I actually kept this. Okay, I actually modded the game slightly before when I was playing on a different computer, and I actually made it possible to cancel the income tax, because what I wanted to do is a policy that had been proposed here in this country, and it was to cancel the income tax but raise sales tax. So see, before we were making like 190 something billion, see, that way we would raise the sales tax all the way up, but cancel income tax, which would actually get more people paying taxes. See what I'm saying? So, because not everybody has income tax as it is, and so if we just raise sales tax, then anybody that buys anything is going to have to pay the sales tax. So, our environmentalists, it looks like their population is increasing. That's not very good. But the Patriot, okay, the Patriot membership is increasing. That's what you want to happen. So let's see, what else can we do to make the environmentalists happy without interfering in people's lives? Hold on. I'm looking. Let's see, what's negatively affecting them? Yeah, recycling is good for them. Let's just try not doing anything to see what happens. Many interviewers, when they come talk to me, think they're being progressive by not mentioning in their stories any longer that I'm black. I tell them, don't stop now. If I shot somebody, you'd mention it. That's interesting. Alright, the Green Brigade, striking the very heart of the government, possibly even a direct assassination attempt, and is a threat we should take seriously. There is no imminent danger, but we should keep the situation under close watch. Yes, weird. Oh, okay, see, market meltdown. This is what happens. Market meltdown, and then subliminal advertising. Basically, you have a choice whether to ban it or allow it. And most of the time, I am for not getting involved in people's lives, but subliminal advertising, I think, is not really playing fair. And so, I do ban it. We're running a huge surplus, so right now, see, look at our GDP. See, it just totally crashed. That's what's happening. And so, see, capitalist opinion is down because of the market meltdown. Let's look at our national debt. I bet it went way up. Where is it? Oh, it's actually going down now. But yeah, you just gotta see how you can deal with it. Science funding actually increases positively to the GDP, so if we increase science funding, so that's going to contribute positively. So let's also let's wait to increase funding on public libraries. What does this do? I don't know why state schools reduces the capitalist membership. See, it's kind of weird, but definitely when there's too much poverty, too much unemployment, things like that, I do like to increase funding in state schools. I go to a state school. I mean, it's a public school, so I think I'm pretty sure that's considered state school. Alright, so what do we need to do? I think technology grants, I think that contributes, yes, contributes positively to the GDP. So let's do that. And let's cut taxes, because cutting taxes is definitely valuable. And do you see how that's kind of contributing negatively to the GDP? So right now, $82 billion a turn. Let's cut it down to $70 billion a turn. And that way, hopefully... And see, now we're running a huge deficit. So, DNA database. Okay, basically it's allowing people to keep DNA, a DNA database of everybody's DNA, so that when somebody commits a crime, instantly you know who it is just by the DNA. But I think it's just a breach of people's privacy. So I prevent it. And now see, I am increasing the amount of people that will vote for me. And let's see if the GDP... Okay, see the going down of the GDP, that's... I slowed it. And let's see the environment, alright, look. Membership is decreasing and the happiness is increasing. That's what you want. Just so there's no threat from them anymore, you see what I'm saying? So, let's see. What do we have here? Usually I wait until my second term or something to deal with crime and violent crime. This is normal crime. And, okay. So, what do we want to happen? Right, we got this. See, our income. See, before we were gaining a lot more from income. We were, see, 190 billion or whatever it was. But the GDP goes down. And that's what makes you make less money. So... And I did cut taxes. So, I guess I just am going to have to see how things pan out. Color of the skin, but their content of the character, which is good. I like that. Freedom of information. There have been calls for a law to increase the availability of information held on databases about citizens without their knowledge. These include the records held by private medical companies, insurance companies, and debt collection agencies, as well as information held by government departments. Proposed the Freedom Act is, it's where basically you think this is a, breach of people's privacy. Hang on a second. Oh, I just got a text. Okay. The average law-abiding citizen should not be spied on or monitored by multinational corporations with computer databases, and the potential for abuse by government agencies if the citizens cannot view what data is being stored is huge. So I propose the Freedom Act. Let me see. Serious concerns, but the thing is, I mean, let me see, membership is 602. The True Way, that's capitalist. Farmers Alliance, the Socialist Army, Army of God. Okay, so this is, okay. If we do this, if we just increase this spending right here, see, I'm okay with increasing good spending. There's a lot of spending though that I really think is bad, and if I had the option, I'd probably cut out state pensions, state housing, everything like that. So, yeah, that faith school subsidies, yeah, that would be a lot. But, like, if you do this, right, more religious membership. More racial tension, that's true. More literacy, though, and the religious people think higher of you. And it doesn't cost all that much money. So, let's do that. If you put the federal government in charge of the Sahara Desert in 5 years, there'd be a shortage of sand. By the way, a little fun facts here. This is Stalin. Poster for Stalin, of course. This is Ronald Reagan, Winston Churchill. And I know this is FDR, so is this. And this is John F. Kennedy. The only other one I recognize is this one right here, and that's Kim Jong-il of North Korea. And that's somebody from Britain, obviously. But, yeah, okay, so now I'm actually getting 60% of the vote in the election. See, so, okay, one of our brightest citizens has won the Nobel Prize for Chemistry. It's good. Whaling, a resolution is before the government proposing the reintroduction of small-scale commercial whaling in Japanese waters. Whale meat is a prized local delicacy, and commercial whaling would create many jobs. Think about jobs. Creating many jobs. Whales consume an enormous amount of fish and may be responsible for a drop in fish catches that affect our economy. Whales would also provide a welcome boost to our economy. Not every species of whale is endangered, and commercial whaling can go ahead without danger of causing extinction. That's what I do. So it looks like our party membership. See, look, I'm gaining more members of the Freedom Party, and then the Democratic Party is losing membership. So, so basically, right now I can't really do all that much. Let me see. Let's see my cabinet. Let's see the loyalty. Huh. Interesting. A capitalist, the happiness is going up. Apparently the membership is decreasing, but let me see if I can do something with transport. Free bus passes. No, remember you want to make sure you don't get too involved in people's lives. The toll roads might be cool, right? Toll roads, and they would provide a little bit of income. Nothing is so permanent as a temporary government program. I love that. The deficit is going down. Genetically modified food, I allow it because GM crops have huge potential benefits. Not only do they increase shelf life and thus reduce costs for sellers, but they can also reduce the need for pesticides, thus meaning less harmful chemicals in use during their production. It's also possible for foods to be created with other benefits, such as improved vitamin content. And think about this. If you allow genetically modified food, then if somebody doesn't want to buy genetically modified food, then they just don't buy it, right? Nobody's forcing them to buy it, but if you ban the sale, then we are forcing you not to buy it, and that is wrong. We can't interfere with the free market, so you allow it. The less involved in people's lives you can be, the better. So, labor laws, I can't do anything, but I would make them pro-employer, because even though it would decrease my opinions with trade unionists, socialists, and it would increase the working week, capitalist opinion and productivity would go up. Although I don't have enough political control, so I'm just going to go ahead. Let's see GDP. It's going up, right? But the economic cycle is not really affecting us anymore, right? Because before the global economy was doing well, now it's kind of just doing okay. So, let me see. The Nobel Prize made our GDP go up. High productivity. Oil price makes it go up. Makes it go up? Oh, the oil price is making it go up. Meaning if we had a lower oil price... Okay, alright. This is the oil demand. The oil price stayed pretty much the same. That's the oil demand. See, the oil price brought down by the supply and brought up by the demand. So, and let's see this. Let's do small business grants, right? We need to, I mean, we really need for there to be more small businesses, because small businesses means competition, and that's good for the economy. So let's do that, and it also brings up the GDP. So the avoidance of taxes is the only intellectual pursuit that still carries any reward. It's funny. Animal testing, I'm going to not change it because products are only tested on animals in order to ensure that there's no chance of danger to humans, and it's only done as a last resort under controlled conditions. If we impose such a drastic ban, it will hit our cosmetics and pharmaceutical industries badly. This is the argument for banning it. In this day and age, there is no good reason to test any products on animals, especially cosmetics. The practices used are often incredibly cruel, and a ban would have widespread public support with little real impact on industry. I say no change. Deficit did go a little bit higher, and that's just because of the small business grants, because now we're spending more, but see, this is the percentage of the electorate I'm getting. And really, we can't do all that much now. So, people once blamed or thanked God for everything that happened beyond their control. Now we blame or thank government instead. That's true. Internet economy takes off, so that's going to certainly have a good effect on us. Extradite terror suspect, a Middle East country with which we have no formal extradition treaty, has requested that we extradite an immigrant living here to them to face charges of terrorism. They accuse him of being responsible for car bombings in their capital city, but the only evidence they have of this is the confessions of other terror suspects, which may have been made under duress. I extradite him, because there may be some minor concerns about the justice system in his home country, but they are fighting terrorists, and if the solution were reversed, we would be outraged at any refusal to send terrorists to face trial. This is no time to be squeamish about interrogation methods. So let's see what this did to our GDP. I wonder if it had any effect. I'm pretty sure it did. Where is it? Here it is. Why is it going down? It needs to be going up. I almost just said it needs to be going down. Alright, and see, this is foreign relations. Where's foreign trade? Is this? No, that's our immigration. This is foreign trade, right? International trade, yep. And so higher foreign relations means higher foreign trade. Higher foreign relations can be increased by reducing CO2 emissions or giving them more money. How can I reduce CO2 emissions? Increasing energy efficiency. Interesting. Let's go to creationism, and it says right now both systems are taught. Really, in this country, it's either an emphasis on evolution or evolution only, because in school I was never taught creationism after I left my private school. I don't know, maybe that's what it means, but I do creationism only, because then you don't have a positive contribution to technological advantage, and you have a very negative contribution to liberal opinion of you. The religious opinion of you goes way up, and the religious membership goes way up. So, let's do that. And you might say that's government interfering in people's lives, and yeah, that may be. But I'm not strictly that way. Yeah, I kind of try to go both ways sometimes. So if I increase funding in technology colleges, it's not going to have a direct effect on our GDP, but it's going to give us more state employees, less socialist opinion, of course, less equality, but higher state employees' opinion of you, internet access goes up, and literacy goes up. So I'm going to increase funding. Let's do this. Okay, now here's where I make my election promises. So I'm going to say reduce violent crime by 15%, and let's cut income tax by 10%. Toxic waste dump. Nobody exactly wants toxic waste in their back garden, but we would be fools to turn our backs on the economic gains from setting up this facility, not to mention the potential jobs. Besides, we can place the dump on the countryside where the jobs are needed and the risks are low. The only reason I'm reading only one of them is that I already know which one I'm going to choose, because this is how I normally play, and I'm just reading you the argument for it. So there's pretty much no chance that I'm going to lose the election. But I still would like to continue doing good things for the country. But I can't really do anything this time, so say what you will. When Dan Quayle was in the National Guard, not one Viet Cong got past Muncie, Indiana. I don't know how you pronounce that town. I'm sorry if you live there. Alright, so the election. Oh, it looks like there's really bad turnout or something. Why is it going so slowly? It's kind of weird. So, my voters' turnout was only 83%, the opposition was 89%, but I still won. And I only just didn't get the votes of socialists, liberals, or parents. And I have one more potential election victory, so let's keep doing this. Keep going. V-chip. I always block the V-chip. This is an unwanted intrusion of government control into the media. Whatever happened to consumer choice and parental responsibility? It should not be the job of the government to decide what TV programs people should allow their children to watch. Keep government out of the media. because the V chip is just making it mandatory for all televisions made or sold in the country to include a hardware which listens for a signal broadcast with TV programs, which rates the program based on the content, thus allowing parents to block children from viewing such programs. So I say get the government out of the media. Now the economic cycle is actually having a negative effect on our GDP. See, but we are starting to recover from the economic meltdown finally. See what I'm saying? And things, of course, things are not always going to go swimmingly when you're in office. But you do what you can. So let me look at my election promises. Of course, I would want to follow through with them. So let's reduce the violent crime by 15%. And to do that, we're going to increase community policing. Of course, liberals like you more. Crime goes down, violent crime goes down, and it's very inexpensive compared to the other programs. We're going to increase funding on intelligence services, spy satellite network, and then also, can we do anything else? Yes, we can. Let's also cut income tax. We said cut it by 10%, so that's cutting it to about $100 billion. And we're going to cut it. So let's just remain with that amount of political power. Let's see, we're getting 3 from this guy and this guy. So they're starting to become wealthy. Wealthy. They're starting to become loyal. When will people learn democracy doesn't work? Homer Simpson. Oh gosh. So we got a bigger deficit, and that's a really bad thing. But we're trying to increase our GDP, and lowering taxes certainly does increase the GDP. See, speed limits. Major motorist pressure group has lobbied government to get the speed limits on our major roads raised. These speed limits were set many years ago by both car speeds and braking. And both car speeds and braking performance has improved since then. Now see, this one, I'm kind of on the fence about it. We have moved on since the times when men walking with red flags in front of motor cars... Wait. That was kind of a weird sentence. The national speed limits are stupidly low, and the limits are widely ignored. We cannot enforce the limits effectively, and until the limits are set as sensible values, it's just encouraging people to break the law. We need to raise the limits immediately. Normally, I don't change them. Speed limits exist for a reason. Enough people die on our roads as it is, and speed is often a factor in the survivability of car accidents. It's true people break the limit as it is, but raising it now will just encourage faster, dangerous driving. Leave it unchanged. I think that's what I'm going to do this time. Aerospace contract. What is this? One of our aircraft companies just won a huge contract to produce new planes. This is great news for the industry and superb news for employment and the economy as a whole. Pundits are saying a business-friendly tax system is one reason we got the contract. Now see, it's because I lowered taxes. I got low taxes, and so people like me. Alright, so what's happening to our GDP? I guess it's going a little bit up. I wish there was some other way of increasing the GDP. But raising taxes is really not what's going to work, because when our economy is in a recession, worst thing you could do is raise taxes, right? Okay, so what happened? Violent crime still needs to fall. I cut income tax by 11%, so I'm good right there. Let's increase funding in an armed police. Instead of every officer armed, let's make every officer have submachine guns. I think that would be really cool. And then also, if you just increase funding in a police force in general, you just raise funding there, and then religion at what's keep the poor from murdering the rich. That's interesting. Nuclear test ban treaty. The United Nations is pushing for our country to sign a treaty that would ban us from carrying out any nuclear weapons tests for research purposes. Many other nations have already signed the treaty and are pressuring us to sign through diplomatic channels. I'm going to say do not sign the treaty. It's vital that we retain the right to carry out limited testing. We live in a dangerous world, and our nuclear deterrent is vital to our defense. It's not for other nations to tell us how to defend ourselves. Besides, testing is required to ensure our weapons still remain usable. So, I choose that. Deficit's still going up. So, I'm not going to raise spending anymore. And in fact, I feel like we should cut some programs. Let's see, what can we do? I think this is subsidized school buses. Decreases car usage. What about bus lanes? Bus lanes increases commuter opinion of you, but decreases motorist opinion of you. And it's really not all that much. Let's go to our expenditure. Look how high the debt interest is. See, that's so bad about having a high national debt. Let's see. We can't cut out state schools. State pensions, no. I guess we can't really cut out spending. I guess the best thing we can do is just not raise spending. Patriotism. Oh, I hate this. I hate this quote. Patriotism is your conviction that this country is superior to all other countries because you were born in it. I hate it. Alright, the deficit's going down. Good. Public smoking ban. You can ban public smoking in public, or you can leave it unchanged. It's not the job of the state to tell people how they live their lives. This is a total overreaction and an attack on civil liberties. It's legal to smoke, so you should be able to free to do so. So you should be free to do so in public. People must be free to make their own decisions about health. I agree. Man, I keep getting like notifications on Skype and I can't see them because I'm in the game. Okay, so what am I doing this time? Is our GDP going up? I hope it is. Yes, it's going up. Alright, so we're starting to recover from the market meltdown. Starting. And I guess really we just have to let it pan out some more. Capitalism is the astounding belief that the most wickedest of men will do the most wickedest of things for the greatest good of everyone. Not really. But deficit's going down. Made a new scientific discovery. So that's good. Corporate manslaughter bill. A new bill is proposed that will allow a corporate entity to be prosecuted for manslaughter when they have been found guilty of negligence resulting in the loss of life. I block this law because this law is unenforceable. With large companies employing many subcontractors, the legal complexities involved in applying blame for accidents are considerable. This law may be well-intentioned. I mean, I agree, it's well-intentioned, but in practice it will be an expensive waste of time that serves to line the pockets of lawyers while failing to achieve any real change in corporate behavior. Because they're just going to keep doing the same thing. And so it's not going to actually serve its intended purpose. So we're getting 75% of the vote. This should be good. It's the Freedom Party. We got 41% of the population is in the Freedom Party. 21% of the population is a Democrat, or Democrats, I should say. And how about tax shelters? I know that is increasing spending, not by much though. And it increases technological advantage, increases wealthy opinion of you, decreases socialist opinion of you, and decreases equality. Capitalist opinion goes up, and high earnings goes up. So let's do that. And I guess that's really all we can do. Fascism is capitalism in decay. And interesting. Okay, the deficit is going way down. Look at that. Minimum wage. I'm going to reject the minimum wage law. This is free market interference at its very worst. Nobody's forcing people to work for these wages. They're the wages that the market has settled on. Making it illegal to pay these levels will just destroy jobs and hurt the smaller companies in particular. The government should not interfere in the market. And we should not have minimum wage in America. I believe that. Because it's just a political tool. Think about it. If everybody gets paid more, then the employers are having to pay people more, which means they have to raise their prices. If they raise their prices, then you're just back to square one. So, and it's causing inflation because there's more money out there when things are really still worth the same, just more amounts of dollars. So the deficit is going down, which is good. See, the debt is raised a lot, but we're not anywhere near our debt ceiling, I don't think. It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe. Ban same-sex marriage. I'm probably going to get a lot of hate for this, but I ban it. It's crazy to allow this travesty of religious ceremony to take place. By standing by and doing nothing, we are silently condoning the practice. The church will be outraged if we don't move quickly to put a stop to this. Now, as our Constitution would say, Well, actually, I don't know really what our Constitution would say because it doesn't really say anything about this. As far as religion, it says that there should not be an establishment of religion. So, if I were really governing, I would probably just say that we don't have an establishment of religion, but we also don't have an establishment of atheism. So we gotta make sure of that. But that's just a side note. But but I ban it, and again, I go both ways. In some cases, I'm just like, no, get government out of people's lives. At other times, I feel like government should step in, and so that's how I feel about that. So, okay, and it looks like our GDP is going up. See, because we're recovering from the market meltdown finally. The economic cycle looks like it's neither boom or bust. I gotta look at it again though. Oh, it's in a recession. Where is it? Economic cycle, there it is. Okay. Well, we don't really have to do anything. And look, violent crime has been reduced to 0. Look at that. Let's go to regular crime. That is going way down. I don't even know where it is, but it's very, very low. Let's see internet crime. Oh, it's going down. Okay. So, I guess we don't really have to do it. The citizen who sees his society's democratic clothes being worn out and does not cry it out is not a patriot, but a traitor. Interesting. There's an internet scandal. Okay, the down market newspapers have picked up on a number of scandalous websites, including those containing race, hatred, and instructions on bomb making and other crimes. Some of our more conservative citizens are outraged that the internet is not more effectively policed and censored. It might not be possible for us to completely police the net, but the public perception is that we just aren't doing enough. The thing is, though, I'm not going to get involved in people's lives, right? Positive discrimination. This exists in this country. Actually, I don't know if it still exists, but it's called affirmative action. I reject it. This is a deeply flawed law that makes no sense to fight discrimination by using discrimination. It creates two problems. That of the minority members who feel they may not have achieved the position on merit, and the resentment of the potential employee who was denied the job. You don't want to have that in this country. Affirmative action was originally started because blacks didn't have as many jobs. They weren't as employed as whites, and so what they said is that if you have a white and a black, both apply for the same job, and they're just as qualified, or I think it's even if the white is slightly more qualified, you have to go for the black. And I really don't think that's a good thing. It doesn't make sense to fight discrimination with discrimination. Yeah, see, internet scandal. That's really bad. But our GDP is going up, so see, we got a very little deficit now. And that's really the heart of what it is. That's why lowering taxes... Oh, look at that. That's why lowering taxes increases government revenue, because lowering taxes increases your GDP. Now let's lower... What can we lower? Let's lower corporate tax again. I like big businesses. It's just the thing is you gotta remember to take care of the little guy too. So, politics is war without bloodshed, while war is politics with bloodshed. Appoint senior judge. We still have a deficit, but it's very, very low. Appoint senior judge. Okay, I always appoint this one. Norma is a household name thanks to her many famous rulings concerning violent crimes and her often outspoken views on the harsh sentences she feels should be applied to thieves, muggers, and shoplifters. So, I think this membership... Oh, it looked like it was just remaining the same, but it's going up by a little bit. So, let's see, what else can we do? We can't really do anything. Let's see if we get a surplus this time. Suppose you were an idiot, and suppose you were a member of Congress. But I repeat myself. Oh my gosh. It's funny. Now, let's see, we have a surplus of $6 billion. It's good. Airport expansion. Our tourism industry is very dependent on air travel, and if we are to expand tourism, providing more jobs and growth in GDP, we must make more air capacity available. We need to act now to ensure we have the increased capacity in time. So, do that, and getting 77% of the votes, still increasing. Let's see this. Airport expansion. Does that have I don't know if that has a direct effect. And the economic cycle also is having a positive effect, finally. Finally! Let's see, they probably like the airport expansion. No, they like the housing expansion. I know environmentalists don't like the airport expansion. And 51.55% of the population is environmentalist. And they're fanatically opposed, but the thing is, they're not, I mean, see, the membership is minimal. So I guess we don't really have to do anything. The hardest thing in the world to understand is the income tax. Nobel Prize, good. Retail merger. Alright, so basically, large retail chain store, they want to buy out its main, they want to buy out their main competitor, and they need government approval. I block it. Because think about this, the whole idea of the free market is based on competition. Remember, you want them to have a free market. The end game of capitalism is monopolies. Capitalism is great, but monopolies are not very great. You need competition. And so I blocked the merger. And we got a bigger surplus, so that's good. We're finally reducing the debt. So, a nation is just a society for hating foreigners. Interesting. Look at, oh my gosh. Look at that, $62.25 billion surplus, and we get 85% of the, or 80% of the vote. Ban fox hunting. I just saw this, and I just said, leave hunting alone. I've read the stuff before, but, I mean, just seriously, you don't want government to get involved. Okay, so our membership definitely is increasing. 48% of the population is in the Freedom Party. See that? For a short time, we were below 50%, but we're just increasing all the time. What is this? Average income. Immigration contributes negatively to that. But anyway, any man under 30 who is not a liberal has no heart, and any man over 30 who is not a conservative has no brains. That's very true. More surplus, it's always good. Hunger strike. Okay, so convicted terrorist, he's going on a hunger strike, and it's up to you to decide whether people can visit him or not. And I say prevent the visits, because you do not negotiate with terrorists. It's as simple as that. They will only perceive any negotiation or relaxation of the rules as, on our part, as a sign of weakness. If he dies in prison, then that's his decision, and we should not be concerned. And I don't want to sound heartless, but that's his decision. We can't just relax the rules, because that's showing weakness, and we can't with terrorists. That's what they want us to do. How can you expect to govern a country that has 246 kinds of cheese? Oil pipeline attacked, which is really bad. Euthanasia, you can either... Okay, a once famous citizen, age 66, is suffering from a terminal disease and living in constant severe pain. Although modern medical techniques can keep him alive for many more years, he has expressed a repeated desire to be allowed to take his own life. So you can either legalize it, or leave the law unchanged. Everyone has sympathy for those involved in these situations, but changing the law is a wrong decision. This would be the thin end of the wedge. Once the principle of helping people to die is in law, the pressure will be on anyone with a terminal condition, especially where medical care is expensive. Don't change the law. Oh, Magic Fan 7 is now playing NBA 2K12. Polls are optimistic. And yes, it only went down 1% because of the oil pipeline, just because people love me so much. Like, seriously? They love me. Okay, so anyways, I guess really don't do anything. Religious opinion happen. Oh, the hunger strike. See, the religious people thought that should have allowed visits. So they're not really liking that. The Patriots, they don't like the oil pipeline. Let's see. One time I got the Patriot opinion, like, all the way, or Patriot membership, like 100% was Patriot. It's crazy. Socialist, they never change. It's always Oh, wait. So normally it's 5%. It's kind of weird. Liberal. They very much hate me. They're decreasing. And for some reason the conservatives membership never increases or decreases. I don't really know why. Guess nothing really has an effect on their membership. I disapprove of what you say, but will defend to the death your right to say it. I very much agree with that. Factory farming law. Basically, I mean, you don't want to interfere with the free market. See where it says this? This is the government interfering in the market to appease a few campaigners. You want to just leave it unchanged. We still got a huge surplus, still got a huge percentage of the vote. And the election is very, very close. So we're not going to do anything. Philosophers have merely interpreted the world to point us to change it. Karl Marx. I don't like Karl Marx. Alright, now we're not actually going to have to do this because we don't have any more potential election victories. We can reduce violent crime by 15% because it's already at 0, so you know it doesn't really matter. And then you could say cut income tax by another 10%. Got a big surplus. Torture, deportation. Police officers have arrested a con man who is staying in our country illegally. Under normal circumstances, he would be eligible to be deported back to his country of origin. The man claims that if sent back to his homeland, it is likely he will be tortured by the government. This man has nobody to blame for his situation but himself. He arrived here illegally and has operated as a criminal since he got here. If he had claimed political asylum when he arrived and not began a life of crime, it would be a different matter. In the circumstances, we must take his claims of torture threats with a pinch of salt. So deport him. Get him out of here. And the final thing, I'm just going to make the labor laws pro-employer. Come on. There we go. 10 people who speak make more noise than 10,000 who are silent. Now, the election. Oh my goodness, look at this. And I got a higher turnout than the opposition this time, too. Look at that opposition turnout's going down. I've been re-elected in a landslide. The turnout was 86.05%, and that's actually a lot more than in this country, because normally about 100 million people vote. This time 259,010,496 people voted. And I had a higher turnout, so let's just see. Turnout. I got 40% of the socialist vote, 42% of the liberal vote. Otherwise, let's see the highest turnout I got. Conservatives got 95%, poor 90%. I always get the capitalist vote. I love capitalists. And I got 99% of the conservative vote. So that was my final election victory. So guys, that's how I play Democracy 2. And that's there's a reason I play it like that. And I hope now you see why my political views are as they are, and there are some that it would be possible to disagree with me and still run the economy well, but the basic policies of lowering taxes and cutting spending where you need to cut it and putting spending where it really matters, the whole principle of that, I hope that really sunk in with you, and I hope you realize why this country's founding principles work, and not having to just believe what people say about them. I hope you realize now why the numbers work. So, guys, that is going to be the end of this episode of Special Saturday, but thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time.